What's up? I have an iPhone 6 here, 6S here. Came in for a backlight filter repair, and sure enough, it was a backlight filter. So we replaced that already, no problems. Right there, dirty tweezers. And then I powered it up, and there was no touch. So we are gonna solve the no touch problem now. I should also say that this filter right here was also blown, which is it was just kind of dangling. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, the middle one of 3. Okay, so this one. So this one is PP1V8 LCM connection. So it was weird because I was getting a display, just no touch. So I don't really understand that really. Although it was kind of dangling. It wasn't like, I'm not sure if it was blown or not. So maybe it wasn't completely disconnected yet when I had tested it earlier. Okay, anyways, let's get to business here. So iPhone 6S, no touch. Okay, so let's get a diode mode and let's check a few things here. Okay, this one's 0.46, 0.458, 0.273. So everything looks fine here. I mean, this is 0.48 is about right, and then the LCM touch is definitely a little low. This is 0.273. It should be right around 0.33, around there. Okay, but the question is, why does the PP1V8 LCM, which powers the LCD, what does that have to do with touch? You know, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, right? Does it? So let's do a little investigation here. Okay, so here's the deal. Here's what I think I'm suspecting right now. Okay, so you have one main power line, which is a 1.8 volt line coming from the PMIC here. Okay, whatever the PMIC is. Okay, so that main power line, the 1V8 power line, which is called PP1V8. Okay, so that's the main power line. All right, so that main power line feeds into this filter right here and powers many things on the whole logic board, not only the LCD and not only the touch. Okay, because if you and usually they're connected by filters. Okay, so here you go. You have PP1V8 coming in here, goes to this filter, and then boom, it goes to the connector here, which powers on the LCD. Okay. In addition, you have a PP1V8 touch connection right here, which is also filtered through this filter right here. And let's see where this is coming from. Okay. So this comes from here, and let's see. So this comes directly from the PMIC, it looks like. So the question is, interesting. So why does the touch not work, huh? Eh? Let's see. How are we going to troubleshoot this? See, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense here. So the LCM works fine, and this has nothing to do with touch, unless the screen is bad. No, I think I tried it with my screen too. You know what? Let's try it one more time with our screen. But that LCM line is definitely low, so I think there's probably a bad cap in there somewhere along the line too. But I don't see how that would affect the touch, though. You know. Let's power this on. This is our test. You know what? Let's use a better LCD here, because I don't know if those work or not. There's a brand new LCD here. Let's use a brand new LCD, and that way we will rule out things. And I'm pretty sure it's not the connector. Uh, Maybe it is a connector. Who knows? All right, so it's powered on now. Let's see if the touch works. Maybe the touch does work, and then this video will be thrown away. Well, all right, the touch works. False alarm, guys. Too bad LCDs. And the sad thing is this, like this LCD right here that we use for it already says bad. Look, it says bad. See that? Bad. Okay. So let's. So does he have a bad LCD too? And then we have another bad LCD, and then everything is just golden here. I mean, who the hell knows, man? Anyways, all right. Always do your testing with a good known LCD. All right. So he's gonna need a new LCD. He's not gonna be too happy about that, but it is what it is. So. Alright, anyways, thanks for watching. If you want to learn how to do this awesome repair right here, I'd recommend, I'm going to do a little self-promotion now. Let's see if I can bring it up here. So, if you want to learn micro soldering, alright? Micro soldering is very fun. I've been doing it personally for about a little over 2 years now, and I still enjoy it. When I started, there wasn't a whole lot out there. I just remember it was like CyberDoc LLC. I think Jessa was out there too, Lewis, of course. And a lot of it was trial and error, though. And you know, a lot of these problems, you know, a lot of people, you know, I guess Facebook has a group here that I joined, and a lot of, you know, we all kind of just started learning ourselves really and sharing stuff, and it's really becoming everybody wants to do it now. But anyway, so we actually ended up creating this course. It's not going to be my voice on this course, but it's our friend over in the Netherlands. His name is Tom. He put a lot of work into this. And we have this awesome course, which it was a 4-part course, and we combined it into one course. We're going to be adding stuff to it actually, because, you know, based on some user feedback, some reviews and stuff like that, we're going to add stuff to it. And it seems like a lot of people don't really understand how to set up their hot air station, what to, you know, and stuff like that, you know, temperatures, and how to use a DC power supply, and ZXW tools and all that good stuff. So we're actually going to be adding little short sections on how to do all these things. Reballing. I think diode mode is a big thing that people still don't really understand, you know. So we're gonna add all these things to the course slowly, and it's gonna be all encompassing. This course is gonna be all encompassing, and right now it's pretty complete already, but we're gonna make it even better. So if you are interested in this, you know what? It says 179 here, but if you do a refresh, with our cheap internet here, 1 megabyte per second. Boom, 149.99. So that's going to be the full course. It's going to contain all 4 courses, and we're going to be adding to it. So best way to learn micro soldering online from your house. Of course, you're going to need equipment. So get ready to spend a few thousand on those if you want quality equipment. And we do sell some of this stuff on our website as well. You can buy hot air rework. We don't sell the JBCs or the hot goes or anything like that. We'll leave that to Amazon and eBay. But we do sell these quicks and ZXW tools. We sell tweezers. We sell power supply cables, UV curing stuff, stencils, and we're about to add some low melt to it. And this right here is my favorite PCB holder right here, which I use all the time. And so we're going to show you how to use all this stuff basically. And yeah, so if you ever have any questions, just email support@microsoldering.com. Thanks for watching. Sorry about this awful video, but yeah, the next one will be better. Alright, peace. Alright, so just as I was about to call it a day on the, I'm back disrepair by the way. I'm not sure if you followed to the end of this, but just as I was about to call it a day and say it's a screen problem, it's not a screen problem actually, because I tried his screen on our phone and his screen was fine, and I put his screen back on his phone and it still is bad. So, but it is working now. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it is working now. All right, sorry, I don't want to do any personal info here, but anyway, so it's working now. So I'm gonna show you the fix. I'm gonna show you what we did to fix it. Okay, let me go back to the small. So we've had this secret for a long time now, but once again, it was the connector. The connector was jacked up, and even though you don't see a whole lot, wrong with the connector, it was the damn connector, man. So something about these 6S, 6S Plus connectors, 7 Plus connectors, man, they go bad, man. They just something about them. They're cheap or something, you know. And so if you measure diode mode right and everything is checks out pretty good in diode mode, then you gotta have to assume that it's probably the connector. Uh, and the thing is this: you can go around chasing stuff right all day, and you're not gonna find anything, man. You're gonna be like replacing, the ICs and measuring voltages and all this stuff, and like it turns out it's the connector. It's the connector often. So if you're watching this channel and no one else has talked about this, then I can guarantee you that it's gonna save you a million. It's gonna save you a lot of time, because these damn connectors I've wasted a lot of time on these stupid phones. Backlight issues, no touch or no touch, no display issues. And I'm like, everything checked out fine, man. What the hell's going on? And gosh, man, I can't tell you how many times it was the connector, man. So, anyways, this connector here was just a little bit flattened, and this pin right here was pushed in just a little bit. And so I pushed it in and pushed it and finagled it, and sure enough, man, it was the damn pin that was the issue, man. So, yeah. So that was the fix right there, and you can see it's still a little jacked up, but it works. It works. It works, yeah. So, anyways, that's a little bit jacked up, but whatever works. I think we'll just go with it, So, iPhone 6s, no touch. It was the connector. Always the connector. Maybe not always the connector, but if things check out fine, diode mode, assume the connector. All right, peace.